I want to move on to a different question for today, which is if we could briefly discuss some alternative ways of generating revenue for these NFT projects.
You have a couple of things that you can do like immediately, such as like controlling who does and who doesn't pay royalties. So let's say like you have perks for your NFTs and you have access. You could somehow like trace what's happening in the blockchain and know who's paying and who's not paying royalties. So it would be kind of like blacklisting whoever sold the NFT with zero royalties. But the point is that this is not a very good solution because you're penalizing the buyer as well, right? So the buyer who is willing to pay full price is getting penalized his access because someone else sold it for zero royalties. So it would be kind of hard to really enforce it. And a couple of other options that people could do is kind of try to estimate what is the royalty revenue that they expect or that they need. So if royalties is what gonna keep them for the first, let's say, 2 or 3 months of the project, how much is that expected? And then add that to your NFT mint price. Of course, this is a barrier to entry, but it's a way of like immediately bringing that and closing the math on your financials. And you could also go to like different places that really enforce. So I know that Immutable X, if I'm not mistaken, announced that royalties are enforceable at their protocol, like at the protocol level. So if a creator really needs that and thinks that it doesn't really change if they release in a different place other than the just main ones and most famous, then I think it's a also an immediate solution for it. You just go for somewhere that is enforceable on a protocol level. And the one that I think it's like the most interesting one is to like introduce periodical taxes for holders, and that's what I was mentioning in Kiefer's article. If you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I can hop in on that. And so the concept that I propose there is around what I'm calling a bid-based land value tax. And so as a general goal with this, we're trying to enforce or trying to create ongoing costs or ongoing taxes for ownership. So you're charging people for owning an asset rather than for selling or purchasing an asset. And so generally with this kind of strategy, you are getting looking at how much people are bidding or willing to pay for a particular asset. Fundamentally, if you think of it as like metaverse land, fundamentally we're looking at the land, not any improvements on it. So not like a house or anything you're building on it. And so fundamentally, what are people willing to pay for the base asset? And then using that as a valuation and taxing that. And so now you're getting a cash flow to the DAO. So the DAO is getting funded based on the holders. So the people who are actually getting value from it are the people who are paying at the same time. So this is much better incentive alignment versus what we're talking about with the royalty model. Then as last component of this, we're also kind of incentivizing buy-side liquidity for these assets by taking a portion of that revenue and paying that out as incentives to people who are creating these bids.
Yeah, and I think it ties really well with the point that you made previously on the regarding membership. So that just having an NFT is not a very good thing because you get a lump sum. But if you could charge someone for keeping their NFT, for holding, and if you make the right calculations, this could be your membership, right? So you could have a tax that is recurrent and that you make, I don't know, let's say like 10%. And if that is enough for your membership, and if you plan enough, then maybe this is something that could work, right? And it could be fair if you say like, hey, my membership is 10% or 20% of the value of the access pass. Then it's on your end to really bring value to that and to increase that and to receive higher membership. So then incentives are like much more aligned. So I think that this concept can be like very useful, and I haven't seen many projects apply it.
Yeah, and it also has benefits towards getting the participants or the NFT owners to actually be active and not just be passive speculators, because that's a huge issue we see with NFT markets right now. People are just seeing, I'll buy this thing, I'll buy the lump sum, and then sit on it and hope that that other people help make this a good community or game or whatever the project is. But then if you are putting an ongoing cost onto that activity, then it's going to select for the people who actually are getting value from it and putting value into it, and putting effort into it. And so that's going to have better aligned incentives for a funded and active community.